Transgender ideology is sweeping our nation, and youth are the targets. From school classrooms to social media, and even the therapist's office, kids are encouraged to question their own biology. Struggling children are pushed toward transition, a dangerous series of interventions that can result in sterilization, long-term health consequences, and potentially worse mental health outcomes. Very often, parents are left out of the conversation and decisions. Kids who are struggling deserve real help, not the harm of hormones and surgery. You may be wondering, why is there a 5,000% increase in this diagnosis? Can a boy be trapped in a girl's body? Is our sex assigned to us at birth? Can modern medicine reassign sex? What is the most loving response to a person experiencing a conflicted sense of gender? What role should government and schools play? This is the next great cultural and spiritual battle, and it's up to us to fight for truth and the protection of our children. We welcome you to our forum today. We hope to inform, inspire, and empower you to go forward in this battle. St. Peter Respect Life Committee presents Clarity in a Confused World, a forum on the transgender phenomenon influencing our culture.
One of the things that I've encountered in working on this issue now for almost a decade is that in the culture, there's a lot of happy talk around this issue, where you hear a narrative out there in the culture, in schools, oftentimes from professionals, that says that some kids simply are trans. And if we can just allow them the space and the freedom to come out and be who they are, and affirm them, validate them, and give them the support in living as they choose to live, then basically they live happily ever after. It's not quite so simple. It matters that we as a culture get it right about who we are, because so much flows from that, and I'll talk more about that. But the second reason is that going down this medicalized path, this path of asserting an identity that's at odds with your body, causes real life harm.
Think about this for a second with me. There are almost 7.8 billion people in the world right now. And no two are the same. No two are the same, even if they're identical twins, right? They have different hopes, different dreams, different desires. No two are the same. And nobody has ever existed before, billions and billions of people, or will ever exist again, that looks exactly like you do. That has those quirks, that has those dreams, that has those desires. And we've heard, right? We've heard that we're made in the image and likeness of God. Y'all have heard that, right? So follow me here for a second. If you are made in the image and likeness of God, and you are completely and utterly unique, then that means that you, in who you are, in how you look, reveal something about God that nobody else has, does, or ever will again. The artist, his heart is revealed through his creation. And we are God's masterpiece.
Because if it's not love for the reason that we're being here, really, it would be better that we're not here. What I'd like to provide then, most of all, is a brief talk on witness. The witness of who I am, of who we are, of who everyone in the world is. Ladies and gentlemen, made in the image and likeness of God. Not labels or gender bearers, not projects, but persons. Created, loved, and willed by God. And that, my friends, is the good news.
So we have seen an explosion in medicine, just embracing this concept of, quote, gender-affirming care. So I want to give you some facts. Someone had asked a question that we didn't get to in the question period, saying, well, how can we talk about this, right? We're not experts. How do we have any credibility? Well, there are some basic facts that are really obscured in the cultural narrative. Anyone can talk about facts. It's a scientific fact that we're biologically male or female, and you can't change it.
I've been asked to come up and present a little bit on sort of the pragmatic side of things. So things are bad. There's atrocities happening. Terrible things are going on. How do we, as parents, as grandparents, as teachers, as adults of conscience, how do we help our kids?
One of the reasons that I really understand how a coming out speech might occur in a child these days is because I suffered from gender dysphoria when I was a child. So I understand those feelings that are very confusing and complex. And the difference was, when I was a child, not a single person affirmed the idea that I was born in the wrong body and that I was inherently flawed, and the only solution was to kill Aaron and become somebody else. These days, a child like me is constantly bombarded with messages that they actually are born in the wrong body, and the only way to survive is to transition. And I just want to hopefully elucidate why that's so dangerous, and based on my experience, and then look at some of the other things that are happening in our society that are incredibly dangerous.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about things like counseling bans. We're gonna talk a little bit about the privacy issue, a little bit about pronouns, curriculum, library books, the ideological coercion that's happening in schools.